The book takes its starting point in these networked forms of governance and asks, what does this mean for the EU and for European actors? And it investigates this question across a very broad range of case studies and across different theoretical levels, across the macro, meso, and micro level, and offers a range of very different answers to that question.
In my chapter, I would say the main innovation lies on the specific type of actors I'm looking at. So I'm asking myself the question, how can we explain how rules diffuse to other jurisdictions, and how can the EU play a significant role in that process? And the way I look at it is by looking at the role of private associations, so associations representing private companies, and how they can help by networking with themselves with associations that are in other jurisdictions. How can they help the European Union navigate the complexity and of the international system, and help it, like I originally said, diffuse its role to other jurisdictions?
The first main innovation is that the book takes global complexity as a starting point and offers an outward-looking perspective from the EU towards the rest of the world. The second main innovation is that we offer a very broad range of cases and different case studies that you wouldn't normally see collected in the same kind of edited volume. The third main innovation is that the book is informed by very state-of-the-art conceptual and theoretical approaches within network analysis and complexity theory. The main audience of the book are advanced students and scholars of international relations and international political economy, foreign policy and security studies, especially those that have an interest in the EU and European actors. The main thing that the audience will gain from this book is that they will appreciate how complexity and networks are two sides of the same coin, and how that perspective eases our understanding of a broad range of case studies.
I would say that the main contribution that I make in my chapter is highlighting the fact that the European Union is interconnected with other jurisdictions in the world, other states, in many different ways. And one of the ways that the European Union is interconnected with other states is through the private actors, the private companies that are being transnational and acting in multiple states at the same time. And so I look at how these specific type of private networks are influencing regulation in multiple jurisdictions at the same time. This goes to the main argument that I'm trying to make in my thesis, is that if you want to understand how regulation evolves in our global and complex world, you need to be looking at what different states are doing at the same time, and how do they interact with each other in many different ways. And one of them, which is, I would argue, getting more and more important, is the role of private actors and how do they interact with each other across states and jurisdictions. The Gemstones agenda research is very related to the questions that are being answered in the book. In the book, we are looking at how complexity is increasing and how can the EU manage it, and which is directly connected to what Gemstone is hoping to answer in his research agenda. So as my colleague said, in the book, we're looking at how networks are useful or contributing to a more global and complex governance, which again directly speaks to the research agenda of Gemstones.
As a final thought, I would offer that the network perspective on governance in the EU isn't going anywhere. It offers different advantages and limitations that we have to work with, but it's very important that we deal with these in a serious manner. The book contributes to that discussion with empirical and conceptual novelty.
As a final thought, I would say that in addition to providing an interesting new perspective on many empirical cases, I think that the book provides a really good and state-of-the-art presentation of what is network analysis or how it can be used to analyze very different types of topics. So I think that students will find it very useful to look at and to start from to use networks in their own analysis.
The EU likes to think of itself as a master networker, or different European institutions like to think of themselves as very strong networkers. And our book is interesting in not taking that question for granted, but really interrogating that and seeing whether that holds true. In some cases, the EU and European actors are working very coherently and effectively, and in other cases, not so much.